I'm going to show you how to use a compass and map in 4 simple steps. Most people have no idea how this works, but understanding it will open up backcountry navigation and possibly save your life. And all it really is just a magnetic arrow and a circular dial. So let's show you how to use a compass in the simplest terms possible. We need 3 things. 1, a compass. There are a lot of compass styles. I recommend a clear one like this called a baseplate compass. The Lensatic military compass is a little different but popular as well. 2, a map of the area. I've got this one right here. And finally, knowledge of where we are and where we want to go. For example, I'm at this campsite and I want to go here to this mountaintop. Compass, map, know where you are. But before we jump into the steps, let's understand what the compass actually can do. A compass alone does not tell you your exact location. It's not a GPS. A compass paired with a map and landmarks can help you determine your location, but the compass alone cannot tell you where you are. So the main use of a compass is to determine the correct direction of travel, helping you go from point A to point B. At its core, a compass is just a tool that can tell you to go that way. And what we'll cover is how to make sure the arrow to follow is actually pointing in the right direction. Got it? Okay, now to the 4 steps. First, find a flat area to set your map and compass on, the ground, a rock, hood of your car, whatever. Step 1, use the straight edge of your compass to create a line from your starting point to your ending point on your map. So, I am here at this campsite and I want to go here to this mountaintop. And as you can see, there are no trails in between. So my compass is making a straight line right up to both of these 2 points on the map. So the straight edge we're using is from the base plate of the compass, and make sure the arrow on the base plate is pointing in the direction you want to travel. Not like this, like this. So all we're doing is drawing a line from where we are to where we want to go. Step 2, while keeping everything in place, rotate the circular dial so it is parallel with your map. So hear me out. We want to rotate this circle, which is also called a bezel. So these black lines inside and this red arrow are pointing in the same direction as north on our map, or these blue lines on my map. These lines are called orienteering lines. So getting these orienteering lines on the dial parallel with the northern direction of your map is the most important part of using a compass. Not like this, not like this, like this. Congrats, you have just learned how to orient a map. The whole point of this second step is to ensure your compass, bezel, and map are in sync and aligned in the same direction. Step 3. Step 3 is to read the number on the circular bezel. So think if the hands on a clock can tell you the time, the number on your compass tells you the direction of travel. This number is called the bearing. So to keep things simple, on a 360-degree circle, following a bearing of 0 degrees is dead north, 90 degrees is east, 180 is south, and 270 is west. So look at the number on the dial that lines up with the arrow on your base plate, next to this little white line, which is called an index point. Mine says 38 degrees. This number, the bearing, my friends, is everything we need to know. So my bearing of 38 degrees means I need to head north and slightly east. Congrats, you have done the most technical part of a compass. You oriented your map and you found your bearing. Now, all we need to do is the final step, which is follow the bearing, or 38 degrees in my case. Step 4, rotate your body until the dancing needle is directly in line with the orienting arrow on the dial. Only now are we going to pay attention to this famous red dancing magnetic needle. When we turn the compass, the needle remains fixed, always pointing north. But we don't want to go north, right? We want to follow our bearing of 38 degrees away from the north. So hold your compass level in your hand and turn your body until the dancing needle falls inside the red arrow on the dial. We always want to make sure this north pointing needle stays inside the red arrow on our circular bezel. This is also referred to as keeping the red in the shed. Not like this, not like this, like this. Once that needle is in the shed, we are going to follow the arrow on our base plate. This is our direction of travel. Now we're ready to start walking. Following the arrow on our compass, keeping it level, and making sure the red dancing needle stays inside the shed on our bezel. That is the 4-step basics of using a compass. Draw a line on your course, rotate the bezel, read your bearing, and follow the bearing. Now let's talk about 2 more important things you should know. First, following a bearing correctly. Sometimes you might just be given the bearing degree, so you won't need to actually calculate anything. For example, imagine if you're coming to meet me here at the mountaintop. As you can see, there's no label on the mountain, so I couldn't tell you exactly which mountain it is. However, I could just tell you to start from campsite Pine Canyon number 5 and follow a bearing of 38 degrees for about 4 miles until you reach the peak. So you would turn the bezel dial to 38 degrees and follow the directional arrow on your compass while making sure the needle again stays inside the shed. And when following a bearing, instead of constantly looking down to your compass to make sure the needle is in the shed, it's often easier to find something that's already in line with your bearing and walk towards it, off in the distance, like a tree or a mountaintop. And no, especially in the woods, obstacles can get in your way, maybe like a river or a rocky bluff. If this happens and you get off course, it's okay. Just repeat steps 1 through 4 and find your bearing again. You should always be prepared to recalculate your bearing, often every couple miles, to reorient yourself. Literally. And the second important thing to know is declination, which is a small adjustment that makes a big difference. Now, I waited to discuss this after you understood the compass basics because this little step can add a layer of confusion for beginners. The north arrow on your map points north, which is fixed and calculated and referred to as true north. However, the dancing needle on your compass does not point exactly to this true north.
You liar!
It's roughly pointing north based off of the Earth's magnetic field, which is created by moving molten iron and is not exactly true north. This map shows how the magnetic fields on Earth look and can impact where the needle on your compass is pointing. This little magnetic needle is just doing the best it can. True north and magnetic north are just a few degrees different, but in some regions, especially near the poles, it can be 30 degrees or more off. So you need to be aware of this potential margin of error. So most maps will just tell you the declination, or you can just look up declination online for your area. For example, magnetic north in Austin, Texas currently is about 4.5 degrees east of true north. All this means is the magnetic needle on my compass that claims to be pointing north is actually pointing about 4.5 degrees more to the east than north on my map. This is pretty insignificant, especially for a short hike, but know that my compass will be directing me 4.5 degrees more to the east unless I say, whoa compass, we need to go a little bit less east. So adjusting for declination is actually super simple. Most compasses have set and forget declination settings. For this kind of base plate compass though, all you need to do is take your calculated bearing and add or subtract the declination degrees. Remember this for declination adjustments. East is least, or subtract from, and west is most, or add to. So for 4.5 degrees east, I am going to subtract that from my bearing of 38 degrees for a final declination adjusted bearing of 33.5 degrees. So to recap and dummy down declination, true north is on your map and magnetic north is your compass needle. To account for that difference, find your bearing, subtract from it if your area has an eastern declination, and add to it if your area has a western declination. That's it. This will give you the basics of how to use a compass and understand its parts. And know if you want to learn more compass tactics, there is always triangulation, which helps you pinpoint your location on a map using your compass and 2 landmarks. And if you want some awesome adventure meals, check us out at greenbelly.com. I'm Chris Cage, founder of Green Belly Meals, signing off. Peace. I love it. Got it? Got it?
Declination.